Hello and welcome to this introductory presentation on Art with Technology, which is a series of seminars in technology. Um, I'm creating this video to help prospective members understand what this group is about and to learn a little bit more about what I can offer and also what some of the additional speakers for Art with Technology can offer somebody that is interested in technology and also interested in working in the field, particularly in a role as a webmaster, marketer, or graphic designer, a combination of all three, which is more of what I'm proposing. And I'm trying to make it possible for somebody who maybe feels that it's not possible to actually fulfill this type of role. So the Art with Technology introductory session begins with a series of slides, and what I'm showing on the first slide here is a painting. This painting was created by a Russian artist, and he at this point has found global fame, and his name is Wasily Kandinsky. And I review a great deal of art, and I'm no art expert because my background is more in computer science than art history. However, I'm very receptive to different artists and their painting styles and what they represent. And Mr. Kandinsky in particular is an interesting artist to somebody that is working with computer graphics. As you can see that this painting dates back to 1923, and the advent of the computer only took place in 1934 and took about 2 decades before it became even an infant field. At which point today it's a much larger field. But what you're looking at here is a painting of geometric objects, and what you can see is kind of like a window into the future, and this is in part why Kandinsky made such an impression on the world. What's most interesting is you can see that a similar image like this can be created using Adobe Illustrator or any other vector-based graphic program. And if you go along with the geometric shapes employed, you'll see that there are lines, circles, and then rectangular or similar areas in the back. So one of the key things that I think in this particular painting that's of interest is that there's even a sort of transparency implemented in the artwork. And you have to understand that Kandinsky as a painter was creative enough to say that maybe some of my geometric shapes that overlap other geometric shapes share in common a transparency, so that the first color only partially bleeds to the second color behind it. And that right there is a very standard function in modern Illustrator applications. So that's why I wanted to introduce this introductory session with a painting by Kandinsky. Here further, I talk a little bit about the artist, and these slides will be available for anybody to download after the introductory session is over. So you see a little bit of his history and details about his style and related. And there's also a URL at the bottom from where this copy came from, and that is theartstory.org, and then you'll find the details again in the slides. Now, one of the things that is absolutely necessary when considering to work in technology, graphics, publications, all sorts of fields where you're using technology to create something. And one of the key motivations behind learning all of the details that are necessary to be successful is a creativity. So we learn these details so that we have the tools that we need to express ourselves in a modern and powerful way. So one example that I thought that was really amazing is what the Metropolitan Museum of Art is doing, in particular in the Egyptology department. And they've come about and created on the temples that are located on the Metropolitan Museum grounds, they project color on the hieroglyphics in a way that you can see what those hieroglyphics quite possibly looked like in their original rendition. So that means that be it 4,000, 3,000 years ago, when these monuments were completed and painted in full, you can get a glimpse into likely what they looked like at that time, giving you a window, a more detailed and accurate window into a time 4,000 years ago, which in and of itself is amazingly interesting. Further, you can see how these hieroglyphics mend into each other. And if you specialize in hieroglyphics, which some people in this world do, this is an exceptionally valuable project. And that just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of some of those motivational projects, or I would say possibilities, the possibilities of technology infused with creativity. So there's so much possibility that this is just one example. And I can give everybody another example before really getting into the core of the seminar outline. Another example is there's a site called projectgutenberg.org. And on that site is a collection of some of the greatest, all the great writers throughout history. The project, I shouldn't say all of them, but as many as possible are accumulated in the Project Gutenberg database, and there are frequently added new texts in that database. And what it is it's a vanilla text project. So vanilla meaning plain. And you could take, for example, a book by, let's say, Shakespeare, and you'll likely find in plain text that book in a Project Gutenberg repository in English or maybe many other languages. And the reason why it's an ongoing project is because it actually takes people to take a book whose copyright allows it to be made freely accessible and to type it up or to convert some older copy into a plain text format. So there are still many books by greats that are not available, which is unfortunate, but you have thousands, I'd say at least, books that are. And so a creative idea would be, if you were interested in publications, would be to take, let's say, one of those books, maybe a book that you've read prior, and to create a new vision around the graphics that you want to incorporate with that plain text, and then present that book as a work where you actually incorporated your own graphics to help better work with the story. And so at that point, if it's a copyrighted, if it's in the public domain, your additions to that text, as long as rightfully cited, could constitute your own work. So that's something of interest. If we go back just to hieroglyphics, there are ways that people can probably write algorithms to understand hieroglyphics in a more analytical way. So that yet is another example. And all of these different avenues of creativity that are accessible to us thanks to this huge boom in technology, my objective is to help you have the tools necessary to pursue some creativity that you want to pursue. And that kind of sums everything up. I've given you 3 examples of where there is possibility, and there are probably infinitely many. And really, my objective, another objective of mine, is to help you think creatively in these courses. So, um, as you join the seminars, I hope to, via motivational speech, give you enough information so that you can go off and be creative in your own right. And that's really one of the key qualities that somebody that's successful in this field has, is this drive for creativity, this drive to use technology as a tool to create something that is valuable beyond what we have, that also is unusual in many respects. So let me continue on to the next slide with an introduction about myself. And I graduated from Queens College, which is a part of the CUNY system. I graduated with a computer science and mathematics degree in 2007. I'm currently pursuing an MA in the computer science department at Queens College, and I will be completing the MA within a year. I also work for a financial technology company, and that's where a great deal of my weekly efforts are spent. And this position has really been an amazing position because I learned so much in practice rather than in theory. When I was going to school, there was still a great gap between what I can produce and what I'm hearing from lecture, from other people. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think everybody goes through this gap between what they have learned in college and then how to create something. And it takes a while to find yourself in your creative process. And at times in the beginning, it's so difficult that many people don't continue because they look at their work, they look at what's available in industry or in practice. You look at a magazine, you look at a website, and then you sit there and you say to yourself, I need to build something like that. And then what you build is so far from what is available, as industry standards and as industry products. Your work is so distant from that you say to yourself, I don't think this is for me. However, that's the challenge. I mean, if you're working as a builder and you have to, let's say, build a foundation and you need to dig, the finished product will be what you build on that foundation. The hard work is all the digging that you have to do to lay out that foundation. So if you're looking at some work that you've created in the beginning and you're saying to yourself, this is so far from what a typical publication specialist or website designer does, this is so distant from that I think this field is not for me. And I want to say to you is that I went through the same thing. And it took me a long time, 2 years probably, before I even got to a level where I'm a beginner at website design and publications. So it took a while. It's actually digging that hole so that you can lay out a foundation, and if it was a physical job, it'd be quite a bit of work. And since it's an intellectual undertaking to create a website or some nice publication, it takes a comparable amount of work. However, in your dedication in pursuing the final design that you want to achieve. So with that said, I'll continue a little bit about me. I also have a small company that I'm slowly beginning to focus on, which builds modern web applications. And I have many creative ideas that I want to realize. And I'm at present not even capable of realizing a full application by myself. And the way I look at it is that I really want to realize at least 1 or 2 applications absolutely by myself before I get into some kind of entrepreneurial endeavor with partners or other people. And so this course is actually focused on helping you as an individual become fluent in enough that you as an individual can be quite successful in a business without relying on other components such as somebody that does graphics or somebody that codes. What I'm trying to do, usually in a nice small business, you have the power to wear many hats. And if you successfully wear many hats, you become less reliant on anybody else. And that is really a quality that every businessman and businesswoman present day should strive to acquire. So you can look me up on LinkedIn as well if you'd like, and I'll connect with you. Just mention that you saw my videos on art with technology and are interested in learning more. And then feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And my LinkedIn URL is right there on that slide. Also, this series of seminars has a website, and it's called artwithtechnology.com. And then some of the work that I did to bring me up to speed and be able to actually talk about my experiences are available via my personal website. I have quite a few publications, and they are a creative approach to philosophy. So that was the way that I found a motivation. I had ideas and I wanted to create something that represented those ideas using technology as a tool. And so some of that work is available on my website. So what is art with technology all about? I went into it a little bit, but here is a little bit more in detail. So tapping into your strongest qualities in technology and art to be successful at key roles in small to medium businesses, marketing and technology departments. Why this group? Primarily, my motivation in creating this group was to show others in technology why I am happy right now. I want to show people why I am happy because sometimes work can be stressful and make life in general difficult. Through hard work and a desire to do rather than to micromanage, I have found a place in industry that is comfortable and solid. I want to share with others how that is possible. I want to show people that that is possible. There are two distinct philosophies with respect to business technology and marketing process and workflow. And what I call these two different schools is a team's approach versus a unicorn's approach. And when I say unicorns, I just mean somebody that is capable of being a variety of specialties, such as they have skill with graphics, they have skills with coding, they have skills with publications, writing, and a collection of all of these qualities make up a very strong employee. So when you're a strong employee, you usually have a better footing in the company that you work for, as you're a reliable resource, and that makes your life less stressful, provided that you can do your job without making many mistakes. And so all of that is possible, and that's what this course is really about. It's to train what I call a unicorn. So somebody that knows quite a bit about many different fields that are come together and create this marketing and website and publication specialist at a company. So here you will not learn how to work in a team. You will learn how to be above average in the breadth of skills needed to a degree that you can become a valuable tool in business without any other dependency. This will ensure you always have a valuable footing with respect to your career and will never get easily disposed of, causing you unemployment, grief, and eventually concluding that technology and marketing is too problematic and stressful. I got happy myself, yet to get to a place in control, I suffered a great deal along the way. I try to motivate people to rely on the principles I've learned, minus learning why these principles matter via experience. That way you can focus on the more rewarding part of managing technology and marketing, which are final products and creative designs of ads, emails, publications, web pages, and much more. So that kind of introduces the objective of the group. And next, I wanted to talk to you a plan of event discussions. And what I mean by event discussions, really, this is an outline of all the different seminar components that comprise the full course. So for an item like publication basics, that will be a seminar in and of itself, and it may be a seminar in 3 parts. I think for each of these items, the seminars will at most stretch into 3 parts, where each seminar is likely going to take approximately an hour of dedication. So the next item beyond publication basics is graphic and ad design basics. So we would talk a little bit about graphic design, about using different resources for photos, for vector-based graphics, and how to take vector-based art and adapt it to your needs. That's a very interesting topic because many people feel that they don't have the creative ability to create something valuable. It starts really with looking at where creativity is and where other people have pushed graphic design in the past. So if you look at a website that houses vector-based graphics, you'll be able to see the variety of graphics that people create as a business. And that will help you understand where you need to improve in your understanding of Illustrator basics to take graphics that already exist and to convert them into something that's useful to you. So really there's a requirement to be consistent in designs. I should say many people like to be consistent in their designs. If you're making a periodical catalog, then you want the catalog for each period to have a set of consistent fundamental styles. And so that becomes difficult if you don't create the graphics yourself, which is a dedication in and of itself. So what I try to do is help you take graphics that already exist and from them take only small components to create a style that could be consistent throughout using many different base vectors. So that's how I work, and it is effective. So I never use the work of one particular artist in full, but if I like components, I collect different components and I put them together, and from the collected components, I introduce some of my own components, and there I have a way of styling graphics that can be consistent throughout. So that's something that I learned via experience that is definitely something that I would share with participants of a graphics and ad design basics seminar. And then web design and development is a little bit more involved. There's a great deal of work that goes into website design and development regarding the foundations of programming and HTML, CSS basics, WordPress. Also, there's the whole idea of being able to have an infrastructure that supports a website, being able to configure an infrastructure that supports a website. So all of those items are covered in website design and development. These will probably be very intense courses, and they will not be complete. What I'll say in general is I'll offer some links to additional resources where somebody can go out and they can learn details on their own using rich resources that are available from other authors online. So further, with website design and development, this might be something that some of the participants of the seminar are interested in and would like for me to offer additional resources to them to learn more if they like my teaching style. So then that would be, a collection of more custom training sessions on a per member basis. So that would cover website design and development, at least how I envision it. And then email marketing workflows and resource management. Email marketing, the key thing with email marketing is to manage your marketing lists in a way that is um, organized and where there are no errors in how you handle marketing messages. So that goes into resource management. Consider if you have 5 lists and you need to send to um, on everybody on those 5 lists. But now if you send one email now and you send one email an hour from now, and the email that you send now is to one list and the email from an hour from now is to another list, there is a possibility that there exist emails on list 1 and 2 that are common. So now you've sent one email now and then one email an hour from now to a subset of those 2 lists twice. So they've received that same message twice. So that's like the most basic problem that you can come across when you're marketing, when you're working with email marketing. So this course goes into how to manage lists successfully, how to use scripts to help you process lists, and further how to create HTML emails that are effective. And so a prerequisite to this section is actually website design and development, in particular for email management. And resource management as well, there comes some mathematical foundations that need to be introduced for you to be a good resource manager. And the mathematical foundations would probably be covered in a separate series of seminars by somebody that specializes in mathematics, as I'm more of a technology, graphics, publication specialist. So that would be also introduced in the website design and development section, how to get a better grasp of mathematics and how mathematics is related to technology. So then we would go into seminars on just education and online resources. So I would create a series of seminars that go through a collection of online resources that could be valuable, and further how to use those resources to get the information that you need as quickly as possible. So there are tutorials available, there are reference manuals available, a great deal is available. However, when you're sitting there and you have an objective to create something that you planned to create and you come across a hurdle, you want to get your answer as soon as possible. And so this series of seminars will help you understand how I can get those answers as soon as possible. And if I can't get those answers, how do I walk around a hurdle in a way that I get to my goal without even applying myself to solving some problem that maybe I'm unable to solve using my resources, that maybe I don't even have to solve if I just think a little bit outside of the box and use another approach. So then I guess to say, to conclude all of the seminars, I'll revisit the unicorn philosophy. And what I mean by that is I'll just talk a little bit about why this is a good route in business. And really the most important thing in being able to do many things in business is that you become a much more valuable employee than somebody that specializes in one thing. And I guarantee that somebody that is able to fill many roles well, so that when you're working in the different roles, you create at least you create work that's acceptable, further that's even valuable. So you figure somebody that specializes in a role, maybe they deliver work that's acceptable most of the time, and then once in a while they deliver valuable work. But see, if you ask them to do a task in business administration or in list management, and they specialize in graphics, they're not going to be able to deliver anything when it comes to those tasks. Although at times they may be able to deliver something really great in graphics. So my objective, as far as the unicorn philosophy is concerned, is to help you deliver products that are acceptable across a variety of roles, and to also push yourself to deliver valuable products across many of the roles, because really they all come together. I've experienced this in my life. I've experienced it in the work that I do, that as you become stronger and stronger in all of the different roles necessary to create a full product, you're only going to become happier. It does take work, but I found in my life that the greatest is to look at the final product and to say, I did this, and that's any business that has somebody that works in that capacity will value that employee, because really every business is dependent on what services they offer, what they produce. So if you can produce, you're valuable to business. So for now, I think as far as the seminar is concerned, that's all I wanted to cover. I'm very happy if you stood by and watched the video in full. I didn't have the script for this video, so I simply spoke based on the slides that I prepared. So excuse me if I caught some words or any issues with speaking. I apologize for that, but I hope that you got a good idea of what these seminars are about from this video, and I am looking forward to you signing up. And if you sign up, when you sign up, you'll start getting information about seminars going forward, along with a schedule of meetups that take place where we meet in person, because a lot of this material I can cover in a virtual setting. And today I'm recording a video without any other participants, but having participants makes the videos interesting. So if you participate in a virtual meeting and we talk about any one of these topics, believe me, I'm going to listen to what you have to say, and it'll create a dynamic environment where we're just building off of each other's ideas. So I invite you all to join. And then that'll be it for today. So please visit the website if you'd like. And if you have any questions, you can reach me via my email address. So the email address is available here on this slide, and I am always open to talking with somebody that's interested in learning more about technology. As far as the pricing of the seminars is concerned, a part of my objective is really to create educational material, and then from that material create some sort of revenue stream. So many of these seminars may in fact be free of charge to those that participate, because my primary objective will be to create educational material. At times, if we have a meetup that's in person, there will be a charge associated with the meetup, because there are certain things that have to be paid for the meeting to be successful, such as food, such as the venue. And these are small meetups, so usually an in-person meetup will require an additional cost. And I'm also trying to figure out how to market the courses to a larger audience so that I can have many virtual meetings and have many people interested in coming to meet in person. So if you can help with that, I would be greatly appreciative. And thank you again for listening, and this is what Art with Technology is all about. Enjoy your day. Thank you.